Und damit herzlich willkommen zurück bei 9 Persons, 9 Hours, 9 Doors oder auch willst du mich eigentlich verarschen? Nein, sorry, ich bin sauer, ne? Also, was war denn das letztes Mal? Also, okay. Folgendes. Dinge, die mich stören. Erstens, dass das Mikro viel zu laut ist. Oh mein Gott. Oh, Abstand halten, Abstand. So, schon besser. Ja, what the fuck soll das? Okay, pass auf. Dinge, die mich am letzten Ending gestört haben. Ich hoffe, Editing Nap blendet jetzt noch ein paar Clips ein von den Stellen, die mich besonders gestört haben. Okay, pass auf. Wir sind zu dritt durch Tür 2 gegangen und haben dort den Sonnenschlüssel gefunden. Wir haben den Sonnenschlüssel gefunden. Wir kommen zurück und Jupiters Tür ist offen. Und ich dachte zuerst, ach, das macht irgendwie Sinn. Die sind durch Tür 8 gegangen mit ihrer Konstellation und haben dort den Jupiter-Schlüssel geholt. Was ich natürlich nicht mehr wusste, ist, dass der Jupiter-Schlüssel hinter Tür 7 steht. Und das Problem mit der Konstellation vom letzten Mal, das waren Ace, Santa, Clover und June. In keiner Konstellation wären 3 von denen hätten zusammenkommen können, um die Digital Root von 7 zu erreichen. Die hätten auch den Jupiter-Schlüssel gar nicht haben können. Das höchste der Gefühle, was sie hätten haben können, war diese andere Keycard, das war nicht Merkur, das war was anderes, war eine andere Keycard. Ich weiß aber gerade nicht mehr, welches war. Aber sie hätten den Jupiter-Schlüssel nicht haben können. Wir wären stuck gewesen dort eigentlich. Erstens, das ist ultra fishy. Dann die Sache mit dem Sonnenschlüssel. Das ist auch ultra fishy. Ich habe das Gefühl, das ist so ein bisschen der Jupiter-Schlüssel. Das kann man sich irgendwie noch fast irgendwie die Idee haben. Das könnte gehen, das könnte passiert sein. Wenn man nicht mehr genau weiß, hinter welcher Tür der nochmal lag. Weil der war eigentlich erreichbar, nur halt nicht für diese Gruppe. Der Sonnenschlüssel ist eine ganz andere Geschichte. Ich habe das Gefühl, das ist absichtlich so gemacht worden vom Spiel, um dich ein bisschen auf die Nase drauf zu stoßen. So, das ist nicht möglich, das geht nicht. Es sei denn, und darauf komme ich gleich zu sprechen, es sei denn, es gab noch ein drittes Bracelet oder eine dritte Person, jetzt habe ich schon gespoilert, die den ermöglicht hätte, zu dritt durch eine Tür zu gehen. Merke auf. Also, Jupiter-Schlüssel wäre nicht gegangen. Sonnenschlüssel wäre erst recht nicht gegangen. Dann, wir haben eigentlich 2 Confirmed Deaths, nicht wahr? Wir haben Clover. Da hat Seven die Hand an ihr Handgelenk gehalten. Die ist Confirmed Dead. Santa und Ace, das lasse ich jetzt mal ganz kurz außen vor. Die sind nicht Confirmed Dead. Clover schon. Das hat Seven bestätigt. Es sei denn, Seven hätte uns angelogen. Which, ich weiß, ich kann niemandem von dem vertrauen, aber er hätte keinen Grund dazu in diesem Moment gehabt. Dann, zweite Sache, die mega fishy ist. June ist weit ab von den anderen gestorben. Ich hatte irgendwie die Vermutung, dass sie gechased wurde und dort dann irgendwie durch die Sonnentür kam, keine Ahnung, vielleicht mit gutem Willen, mit vielleicht ein bisschen Sonnenschein, sie ist ja so ein Herzchen, dann dort zu liegen gekommen ist. Die gute liebe June. Und ich muss zugeben, da musste mich Albi ein bisschen mit der Nase draufstoßen. Aber es gibt ein dickes Problem mit dem Tod von June letzte Runde. Wir haben eine Regel etabliert, und zwar lernen wir die Regel schon hinter Tür 5. Dass wenn jemand stirbt, durch was auch immer, wenn der Puls auf 0 fällt, dann fällt das Bracelet auch ab. So weit, so gut. Ich kann jetzt nicht beurteilen, ob das von Clover ab war, aber es impliziert irgendwie, wenn er an ihr Handgelenk dran kam, dass es vielleicht ab war. Ich weiß es nicht. Ich müsste es nochmal rewatchen. Das heißt aber, wenn das Bracelet noch dran ist, dann hast du noch einen Puls. Ja? Und ich kann jetzt nicht von so einem verliebten jungen Mann wie Junpei erwarten, dass er in einem dramatischen Moment, in dem seine vermeintliche Jugendliebe in seinen Armen stirbt, die Brain Capacity hat, zu bemerken, ob ihr Bracelet noch dran war oder nicht. Wenn es noch dran war, dann hat June ihren Tod vorgetäuscht. Und ich weiß gerade nicht, was ich davon halten soll, um ehrlich zu sein. Oh June. Oh June. Ich weiß gerade nicht, wie wir stehen, June. Also, das ist fishy, fishy, fishy. Dann die Tatsache, dass Seven und Lotus nicht hinterhergekommen sind. Also, wir sind durch die Tür zu dieser Submarine. Warum ist da eine Submarine? Das ist auch ein Ding, das mich mega stört. Warum ist die da? Die einzige Möglichkeit, eigentlich vom Schiff zu entkommen, sollte durch diese Neuner-Türen oder durch eine der Neuner-Türen sein oder halt durch Tür 9. Find a door with number 9 on it. Das ist ein kryptischer Typ, ey. Ich hasse den. Ich hasse den. Die sind nicht hinterhergekommen. Das heißt, entweder haben die sich gedacht, oh shit, dieser einzige Weg, wo wir lang gehen können, wir haben jetzt irgendwie doch gar keine Lust mehr, da durchzugehen. Oder sie wurden halt direkt ermordet. Das würde June ein Alibi dafür geben, dass sie nicht die Mörderin ist. Es würde aber trotzdem sie nicht in Schutz nehmen, wenn sie ihren Tod vorgetäuscht hat. Ich weiß nicht warum. Ich weiß es nicht. Es scheint Junpei nicht viel gebracht zu haben, dass sie ihren Tod vortäuscht hat. Ich weiß nicht, was ich von der Frau jetzt gerade halten soll. Also ganz ehrlich. Also ich kann mir vorstellen, dass Lotus und Seven, weil wenn die reingekommen wären, hätten ja wahrscheinlich sofort das U-Boot gesehen. Die wären nicht reingegangen, hätten gesagt, oh, riesiger komischer Raum, lass uns mal zurück in den Flur gehen. La-di-da-di-da. Oh, ein Mörder. Au, au. Also, keine Ahnung, nee. Lotus ist auch confirmed dead. Ich habe jetzt gerade einen Ausschlag gehabt, egal. Lotus confirmed dead. Ihr Bracelet, ihr Armband, war ab. Das ist confirmed. Und das war weg. Das ist, glaube ich, auch confirmed. Bei Seven weiß ich es jetzt gerade nicht. Ich habe es jetzt gerade nicht mehr im Kopf. Ob es ab war, ob es noch dran war, ob es auch weg war. Es wurde halt nicht erwähnt, dass es weg ist. Aber das ist fishy, fishy, fishy. Diese Armbänder, die nicht abgehen, wenn Leute vermeintlich tot sind. Also all diese Dinge, um es abzukürzen, irgendjemand verarscht uns hier nach Strich und Faden.
Ich hab dir doch gesagt, er hat uns gesehen.
Von vorn bis hinten, die ganze Nacht hindurch, auf dem Bett, auf dem Waschbecken, durch die ganze Wohnung. Und ich bin nicht happy. Ich bin nicht happy. Wer ist das? Meine Vermutung war, erstmal, ja, vielleicht komme ich da später noch drauf zu sprechen. Ich weiß es nicht. Also, weil meine Vermutung ist, dass einer von diesen, also dass mehrere, dass alle haben hier Dreck am Stecken. Alle verheimlichen hier irgendwas. Irgendwas stimmt hier gar nicht. Aber ich glaube auch, dass wir nicht allein auf dem Schiff sind. Es wurde angedeutet mit der ganzen Basis-10-Geschichte. Mit der, es ist ja diese Sache zwischen Hex-Code und Basis-10-Code. Also das, was wir halt normalerweise im Alltag verwenden, 0 bis 9. 0 bis 9, ja. Heißt ja Basis 10. Aber die Tatsache, dass es halt 9 Persons ist, es ist so ein bisschen... Ist es misleading? Ich weiß nicht, ob es misleading ist. Ich glaube, Zero ist an Bord. Und ich glaube, Zero hat auch ein Bracelet. Und ich glaube, Zero hat eine große Incentive, von diesem scheiß Schiff zu entkommen. Oder vielleicht auch sein eigenes, komisches, kleines, krankes Spiel spielt. Und mit dem Zero Bracelet dann einfach sich in irgendwelche Türkonstellationen reinschleichen kann. Vielleicht kann er auch alleine einfach Türen öffnen. Aber vielleicht ist er ja so ein Kack-Typ. Ich weiß es nicht. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Entweder das oder das Einzige, was man halt nur vorstellen könnte, ist, dass er in irgendeiner Art und Weise mit Ace conspired. Aber naja. Ich bin schon 21 Minuten in der Aufnahme. Ich habe nur Scheiße gelabert. Wie gehen wir weiter vor? Okay, pass auf. Mein aktueller Plan ist, ich werde jetzt einfach alles ignorieren. Ich werde mit komplett freiem Kopf da dran gehen. Und ich werde nicht irgendwie June oder sonst jemanden für irgendwelche Dinge belangen, die vielleicht oder vielleicht nicht passiert sein könnten in anderen Timelines. Und werde jetzt erstmal noch Tür 8 mitnehmen. Da waren wir noch nicht durch. Und Tür 1 interessiert mich brennend. Okay. 4 und 5 haben wir beide schon durchgemacht. Ich werde jetzt einfach mal vom Feeling her mit Tür 5 gehen, weil Tür 4 werde ich in einem neuen Playthrough, also in dem nächsten Playthrough, wenn ich alle Räume irgendwie mal durch hatte, werde ich die nehmen. Einfach für dieses Kleeblatt. Das ist ganz wichtig, dass ich das kriege. Und dass Clover das kriegt, ist, glaube ich, auch extremst wichtig. Und deswegen, das werde ich wahrscheinlich noch oft genug spielen, aber für mein Seelenheil muss ich jetzt gerade ein bisschen Zeit mit Snake verbringen. I'm so sorry. Ihr werdet das jetzt wahrscheinlich nie mitbekommen, weil ich das skippen werde. Es sei denn, es kommt was Neues. Es sei denn, es kommt was Neues. Mal sehen. Wir schauen mal. Und wir sehen uns dann gleich wieder. Bis gleich. Ich melde mich nochmal kurz zurück. Ich weiß nicht, ob es das in die Aufnahme schaffen wird. Hi. Oder in die Folge. Sorry. Snake ist weg. Wer hätte es gedacht. Ich will mal was versuchen. Was passiert, wenn ich die ganzen Sachen ablaufe. Aber die Leute ignoriere. Also die nicht anspreche. Das habe ich noch nie gemacht. Schauen wir mal. Ich skippe das jetzt auch wieder, ne? Aber ich lasse es jetzt dran. Gehen wieder ins große Krankenzimmer. Walk away without saying anything. Junpei turned around and walked away from Santa. There was nothing he'd learned from talking to him anyway. Junpei took June and left the large hospital room. Where would they go next? Okay, ist es bei allen so? Mal sehen. Let Ace handle it. Why don't we just leave this area to Ace? We can go somewhere else. I don't mind. But where? Well, let's see. Das ist anscheinend einfach nur, um die Sachen zu skippen, aber for completionist sake machen wir es bei allen jetzt mal. First Class Cabin Casino. Und da refusen wir und gehen einfach. Refuse and leave. No, that's alright. Let's go, June. Junpei tugged June's arm and led her quickly back toward the stairs.
Was that okay? You don't think we should have listened to her?
No, I've got a pretty good idea what her proposal would have been. We should be looking for Snake. Well, where should we go next? First class cabin. Leave her alone. Something told Junpei that Clover probably wasn't in much of a mood to talk. He leaned over and whispered quietly to June.
Maybe we should leave her alone. Yes, I think you're right.
They turned and walked quietly down the stairs. Clover had driven home the misery of the situation, but Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but depressed. For Clover's sake, they had to find Snake, and fast. Back to the large hospital room. Finish searching. Okay, es hat nichts ergeben. Naja, dann sehen wir uns bei der Türentscheidung wieder. Bis dann. Warte mal. Wir haben ja gerade eben Dedicated, das vermutlich im letzten Ending, im Subway-Ending, June nicht tot war, weil ihr Bracelet noch da war. Und Ace scheint ein grobes Wissen, oder zumindest ein ausreichendes Wissen über Betäubungsmittel zu haben. Was ist, wenn er ihr irgendwas verabreicht hat? Irgendwas, was sie so stark betäubt, dass es so aussieht, als würde sie nicht mehr leben. Er hat sich ja selbst damit auch verabreicht. Er wäre auch im Besitz davon gewesen. Oder hat es fallen lassen und sie war in seiner Nähe und sie konnte es sich selbst verabreichen. Ich weiß es nicht. Es ist alles so... Ach, ihr seid alle so suspicious. Ich hasse euch alle. Nein, um Gottes Willen. Die haben alle ihre Gründe, hier zu sein und ihre Gründe, hier lebend wieder rauskommen zu wollen. Das haben wir letzte Runde erfahren. Aber holy fucking shit. Ich traue niemanden von euch. Keinem einzigen. Wir gehen durch Tür 8. Da waren wir noch gar nicht. Das Labor, right? Warte mal. Lab. Wir haben im Moment nur die vom B-Deck, das ist richtig, genau. Junpei, which door do you want? Door 8. I think I'm gonna go with door 8. Okay, 8 it is. Yeah. Alright then, that means June's gotta go through 7.
What? Why?
What? Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain. If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there's only 3 ways we can do it. Plan A. Kann ich das skippen? Nein, natürlich nicht. Go through 7 with 3, 5, 8 and go through 8 with 4, 6, 7. Plan B. Go through 7 with 4, 5, 7 and go through 8 with 3, 6, 8. Das haben wir letztes Mal gemacht. Plan C. Go through 7 with 3, 6, 7 and go through 8 with 4, 5, 8. And that's it. Those are our only options. Und das würde bedeuten, dass dass Santa und Clover ihre Türen wechseln müssten oder sowas. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now? As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
Oh no. You're saying we aren't going to see each other again for a long time.
Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face, but he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile. Hey, come on, you're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while. This is just like when we went to the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
She didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected. I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't connect, neither team can go through door 9. In other words, the game would end right here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. Zero macht seine Regeln, wie möchte, und ich hasse das. Naja. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door. June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise. June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Yes. Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment. You guys are done, right? He stretched and continued. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. Sorry, mein Handy hat irgendwas gemacht. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover? Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care. Alright, we're ready to go then. Let's move. At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7 and June walked toward door 7, while Clover, Lotus und Junpei... Oh, Clover kommt mit uns mit, diesmal. Interessant, okay. While Clover, Lotus und Junpei headed for door 8. Clover muss also immer mit uns mitkommen. Stimmt, weil wir zusammen eine 9 ergeben. Und Santa und June ergeben zusammen eine 9. For a long moment they stood in front of the door. Then Lotus laid her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes. Then shall we go?
Interessant, okay. The door had opened. A narrow hallway stretched out before them. Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. Detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met. They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5 seconds. Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily through the door. He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold electronic beep.
81 seconds left. Hurry!
Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead. Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could.
Phew. It stopped.
With a shaking hand she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm. Aloof, perhaps.
Pointless.
She muttered to herself without emotion and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind the confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl. I bet she's not very popular with the boys.
Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl. Oh nein. Wird das jetzt so ein... Ich will es gar nicht sagen, weil ich das irgendwie so fies finde, aber das ist jetzt so ein Zickenkrieg? Ich hab da gar keinen Bock drauf, ne? Ihr vertragt euch jetzt gefälligst. Girls protecting girls und sowas. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed. The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end. Set into the wall on the left side was a large iron door. For a few minutes they stood in front of the door, examining it. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it. A laboratory, huh?
That doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Me either. But there aren't any other doors. It's not like we have a lot of choices.
Junpei.
Huh?
Please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect. Gah. Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him in and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into the wall made it possible to see it into the other side of the division. Junpei walked to the window and looked through. What the hell? He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of a room shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lay on what looked like a medical exam table.
That looks so creepy.
Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to him.
You don't think that thing is going to suddenly sit up or something, do you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If you press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
She was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands wide. It was then that Junpei noticed Clover. She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somehow sad. There was something almost pitiful about her. So war sie nicht, als wir ins in den Operationssaal gegangen sind, ne? Da war sie ein bisschen peppier. Komisch. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could, spoke. Are you okay? Clover looked away.
What are you talking about?
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What, I can't be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can, I just...
Okay then, if I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together. Clover bit her lip and was silent for a moment, then suddenly...
Junpei, you just don't get it!
Das hat mich gerade echt erschreckt, not gonna lie. Her cry took Junpei by surprise and he stumbled backwards a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who'd just leave me behind. Something happened to him. Something bad.
Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk quickly away. Hey! Wait, Clover! Hold on! He might as well have been talking to a wall, for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway. Nein. Das ist ganz schlecht. And without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a portcullis, sealing Clover in. Portcullis, huh?
What the heck? What's going on here?
Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could. Hang on! I get it open. Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The three of them pulled as hard as they could, but... Damn it, it's not moving.
Wait, are you just gonna give up just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has gotta be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's got to be a way out to open it.
Junpei nodded. Just what I was thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
Seek a way out. Laboratory. Das ist ja ganz furchtbar. Okay. A silver handrail. It looks like a regular handrail.
Junpei, do something, please. Quick! Figure out how I'm gonna get out of here. Quick!
Okay. Das ist alles, was sie darüber sagt. Kann ich da durch noch irgendwas sehen? Nee. A window made of really thick glass. I don't even think a bullet could break it. Das ist auch alles dazu. Doesn't matter what I hit it with, it might as well be made of steel. Das ist ja okay. Okay. Hier kann ich durchgucken.
I wonder what this is. This thing here looks like a voltmeter. And is this the control for that? Gosh, there's so many dials.
Why don't you try turning one of them?
Nope, nothing. There's no power here, guys. I turned the dial a whole bunch, but even if I turn all the switches on, nothing happens. I wonder what they washed here. There were these weird colored stains all over the sink.
It's a wash basin, more commonly known as a sink. Is there anything unusual on that machine?
Well, I don't know, you know?
There are a bunch of cords hanging from the bottom of it.
Jeez, this is a lot of cords. It looks like they all go over here into the mannequin's head.
So the device and the mannequin are connected. What the hell were they doing in there? Oh man, back when this laboratory was active, that wasn't a mannequin in there, I bet. It was a real-life human on the table. I wonder what... No, I don't want to think about that. According to Clover, it's some kind of device that can regulate voltage. There's no power going to it though.
I think this thing is a monitor for whatever experiment they were running here. There's a bunch of stuff on here that like resistance value and voltage. The power's off, so there's nothing on it right now.
This is the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table.
I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it's all black. There's a pen lying over there. I think someone probably used it to make the table black.
Well, if they only used a pen on one part of it, there's probably something underneath all that pen. Clover, do you think you can erase it?
Yeah, sure. Oh, this is a permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker?
Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back. Part of the table's been colored over in black with a permanent marker. If I could find something that could get rid of that ink, I could hand it over to Clover. Through the bars. Oh, okay.
It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer stuff of the cables. I can see the wires inside. I guess this drain is for water, huh? Well, there's nothing here.
A drain for water. It hasn't been used in a long time, so it's completely dried up. It's a rack. There are some cables on top with copper wire exposed.
Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something.
What the hell are they doing in there? Huh? Why is she all quiet now?
They were doing experiments on humans. Probably.
Oh man, now she looks sad. There's a mannequin lying on the exam table. I can't really see it very well from here, but it looks like there are a bunch of electrodes sticking out of its head. Sonst haben wir, glaube ich, nichts. Das Kabel auch nicht, die Treppe.
Those are the stairs I just came down. The bars and the gate are just above me.
Short flight of stairs. Okay. Mal gucken, was hier so ist.
It looks like this door is the exit. The door on the right just goes to the laboratory.
Nope, this door isn't going anywhere. No dice. It won't open. I mean, that's about as much as I expected.
I don't think Zero would let us out of the room quite that easily. This looks like the control for some kind of electric lock. The red light is on.
Then it's gotta be locked.
There's a green light just below it. Although that one isn't lit.
I bet it'll turn on if we can unlock it, right?
Yes, but how are we going to unlock it? There's no keyhole, no card reader, and no keyboard for putting in a password.
I have no idea. Alright, let's think about ways we could open this door.
Like what?
The control device for the electronic door lock. There's no way to input the password, though. If we want to open this door, I bet we need to do something somewhere else. Everything suggests this door is the exit. The only problem is figuring out how it opens. Hey Clover, there's a door over here too.
Wait, I'll be right there.
I can hear her over there. Is this door gonna... Damn it, I can't open it. Clover, what about your side?
It won't work. I can't even move the knob.
This looks like the control for an electronic door lock. There's a red light on the display. That means it's locked. If we can get that light to turn green, then maybe we can get Clover back. The door to the laboratory is locked up tight. It's not going to open. Clover can't open the door from her side either. Either. Wo sind wir her? Okay, das ist die Treppe, von da kamen wir, dann sind wir hier so rum. Hier ist die andere Tür. Dann haben wir uns das hier angesehen. Hier ist die Ausgangstür, vermutlich. Hier ist eine andere Tür. Jetzt sind wir hier, okay.
There's a lot of stuff here.
I don't know how we could use any of these.
Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things.
Which one?
The one on top, I think it's a power cable.
The power cable, huh?
I'll take that.
3-pronged power cable. Schön.
This is definitely a power cable. Do you remember if we ran into anything that didn't have power?
We did. Power cable. Maybe I can plug it into something. Stand for various pieces of equipment. Some of them might be useful.
The hands on the clock have stopped moving.
The clock may stop, but time goes on. No time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. It's a clock. The hands have stopped, so we don't know what time it actually is. I wonder what this cable is connected to.
Okay, one side of this thing is in the room with us. The other side extends into the laboratory where Clover is.
In other words, the console in front of us is connected to the device in the laboratory. Interesting, okay. There are thick cables covering the walls and ceiling.
There are 2 levers here. Do you think they activate something?
Well, why don't you move on?
Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope. Doesn't look like anything's happened.
Gucken wir nochmal an. The only thing about the room that's changed is that the lever's down now. Not very impressive. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room.
Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that.
I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. The power distribution board and the control panel. They are not working at the moment.
This is a really old type of keyboard.
This keyboard is pretty old-fashioned. This is a keyhole.
This looks like a keyhole for the activation key.
A keyhole. I might be able to activate this thing if I put in the right key. Okay. Mehr ist da nicht. Weird, okay. This monitor doesn't have a power cable, so one end of this cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Well shoot, I can't use this.
What's wrong?
This cable has 3 prongs, but the socket has only has 2 holes. It's not gonna fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're gonna need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. The keyboard. I've got the power cable, but without the 2-prong plug it can't be connected. The mouse. Okay. These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. Huh? Da ist was drin. Ethanol.
Ethanol. I wonder if this is for antisepsis.
Oh, it says anhydrous ethanol. Anhydrous? Is that different from the regular ethanol?
Come on, that's common knowledge.
Anhydrous ethanol is a powerful cleaner. It can even erase marks left by a permanent marker. Ja, sowas aber auch.
Did you know that ethanol is used in some alcoholic drinks?
So does that mean you can use booze to clean up marker graffiti?
Well, I don't know about that.
I'd rather drink it than use it to clean. Don't drink that.
I'm not gonna drink it.
A bottle of anhydrous ethanol. Apparently it can erase the marks of a permanent marker. Na, so was. Okay, ist da sonst noch was? Well, I guess that's all there is. A whole bunch of steel lockers. The 9 on the right all have little red lights on them. Red lights, huh? Well, can't hurt to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Locked tight, all 9 of them.
I wonder if there's anything important in there.
A whole bunch of lockers. 9 of them are locked. Da ist bestimmt was Wichtiges drin. It's a cardboard box. There are some papers and stuff in it.
What's in the box? It looks like it's quite full.
As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments. But it's all really technical and stuff. I don't really get it. It's a cardboard box filled with papers. Okay. Und das war's. Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off that permanent ink with it.
What am I gonna wipe with?
Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Kidding, just kidding. Please don't look at me like that, you're scaring me. Mit was soll das wischen? Ist da drüben nix? Clover, there's a door on the back, isn't there?
Wait, right there. I'll take a look. Oh no, it's locked. I can't get it to move.
Da kann ich nicht durchgucken. Clover, can you use the cloth on the table?
Use, huh?
Soak it in the ethanol and then use it to wash off all the stuff from the permanent marker, okay?
Right, okay. So I gotta soak the cloth with the ethanol.
Darauf hätte es auch selber kommen können, Pippi. Also jetzt come on. Well, she's got the cloth, but she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask her to get to work on that stuff on the table.
Soak the cloth in the ethanol and... Junpei, it's working. It's wiping the permanent ink off.
Huh?
There's some kind of weird drawing under all that permanent ink.
What's the deal with that drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table.
I wonder what this is. There are a bunch of numbers in some kind of grid.
I can't see it from here. Clover, you've got a pen and a notebook, right? Could you write those numbers down and then hand them to me through the bars?
Okay. Roger.
Gib.
Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk on there.
Paper with numbers on it acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. Net? Yeah, about digital roots, map controls, calculator controls. Clovers Note. Das ist Sudoku, das kann ich lösen. 3, 2, 4, 1. Okay. Ich weiß genau, was ich tun muss damit. Ja, so können wir das abkürzen. Warte nochmal. Guck's mal an. Erst die unten rechts, dann oben rechts, oben links, Mitte. Unten rechts, oben links, Mitte. Well, I guess that's all there is. Mach das verdammt nochmal auf, ey. Liegt denn noch irgendwas rum, was ich übersehen habe? Ach, die Scheißtüren auf, ne? Search. The note Clover copied from the stand in the laboratory. It has 4 numbers written in 9 separate cells. Halt, stopp. Hat doch noch was.
I hope those numbers are gonna be helpful.
Okay, sie will das Kabel nicht haben. So. It's a silver handrail. Seems like a regular run-of-the-mill handrail. Irgendwas habe ich übersehen. I've got the scribblings on the table already. Mannequin on the exam table. Irgendwas übersehe ich hier gerade ganz gewaltig. Und alle schreien in die Kommentare. I need a two-prong plug. I wonder if there's one around here somewhere. There's a couple of vertical lockers. There isn't anything useful in them. Hey Clover, how are the power cables over there?
Huh? What do you mean?
Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2?
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look.
Guess she does have to kinda crouch down to get a look under there.
The cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of those little metal things. What does that mean?
That's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here?
Okay, but...
But?
Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you.
Damn it, that's no good then.
Well, how about just a plug?
What?
The plug? Well, maybe more like a connector. It's a sort of thing that makes a plug with the 3 metal thingies into a plug with 2 metal thingies. Still useless?
Not useless. Not useless at all. That's just what we were looking for.
Okay. Can you hold on for a little bit?
And back down she goes.
Alright. Unplugged. I'll hand it to you over at the bars, okay?
Also was, CP.
Here you go. The 2-prong plug.
Thanks. 2-prong plug.
This is a 2-prong plug that we can use to convert the power cable from a 3-pronged cable into a 2-pronged one.
This is the adapter that makes the 3-pronged cable into a 2-pronged one. Okay. Warte. Halt, stopp. Nein, nicht wahr. Halt. Moment. Damit kombinieren. Okay. Put the 2-prong plug onto the head of this power cable. Let's go.
It fits perfectly. This should be just what we need.
This is the power cable with the 2-prong plug attached to it. Sorry, dass ich... This should do the trick. Sorry, dass ich alles irgendwie 3 oder 4 Mal anklicke. Ich will nur irgendwie alles mitnehmen. Ich weiß nicht. Bin irgendwie so. So. Jetzt sind wir einmal ums Karree gegangen. Alright, I've got the 2-pronged power cable in my hand. I'm pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go. And let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it. That ought to do it, yeah. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's going to happen.
Why not?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer.
You never know until you try.
Pretty optimistic. Kurzen Schluck trinken. Junpei pushed the button on the front of the monitor. With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen. He had hoped it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this. Huh? It's actually working?
So it would seem.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right? There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless display.
Clearly, this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus. A wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly.
Hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei? He most certainly had not, but... Is that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
As they spoke, the lines of letters suddenly stopped and disappeared. The only thing left on the screen was the word pass, followed by a colon.
It looks like we need to enter a password.
Again. There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do? I'll see if I can do something about this on my own. On your own? Yep, on my own. Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it, in front of the keyboard. Ihr Outfit ist schon sehr revealing, ne? Aber sie sieht so cool aus hier gerade. For a second she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left and right. Alright, let's kick some ass. Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. Then, before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire. What? Junpei was, for once, at a loss for words. Didn't expect that, did you? Oh, of course I didn't. What kind of job do you have? What are you? I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit. Why? Lotus blinked. Huh? Oh, it was just something. She stopped typing for a moment and her face fell. This was not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen. What are you doing now? I'm going to try and brute force it. Brute what? A brute force attack is... well, the short version is that I just attacked the thing head on. The long version... Without looking up or slowing down, she began to explain. A brute force attack is one of the simplest way to break a cipher, she told him. It checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. The thought of doing something like that made Junpei feel tired, but Lotus explained that she was writing a program that would run just such an attack on its own. It's not the most elegant solution, certainly, but given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do. Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed the key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little odd. Oh, but back to what we were talking about earlier. What were we talking about? The wireless display. It's kinda strange if you think about it, isn't it? Well, how do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you. Alright. So you enter 1 plus 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange? No. Not really. Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You said so just a minute ago. You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 plus 1? The main computer, right? You said it's connected to the monitor wirelessly. Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right? They probably think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see. The color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Ah, I see. So this wire supplies power. Eventually they might even cut the wires. Ah yes, just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore it must be this device which does the calculations. But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that. Because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer are connected. Wirelessly. Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head. So, what are you trying to say? Nothing. Really. It's just... I thought maybe... What if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that? Huh? Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say... Interesting, so stimulating this part of the brain causes this person to see colors. That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought.
Cutting off this part causes that function to cease. Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain. You get it? It's just like this monitor. Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in the main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts. Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly, and he was a little surprised to be hearing something like that from someone like her. The brain is just an output device? Human thought actually occurs somewhere else. Did Lotus really think that, he wondered? It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre cultish religion. Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia. Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued. If memories actually start somewhere else in some sort of main body. Somewhere. Maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories because the monitor, his brain, has been damaged. I suppose that would explain aphasias and blindsight too. Perhaps they actually can speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing. Wait a minute. What? He knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he'd never heard the word prosopagnosia before. What, you've never heard of Nee, mich das noch einmal vorlesen lassen, dann knall ich das Spiel an die Wand, ey. What, you've never heard of prosopagnosia? Lotus spun around with her chair to look at him. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head. Nope. What is it? Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. Interesting, you would say that. Very interesting. Zukunftssnipe schreibt das auf. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's, or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia, nailed it, have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair. Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks? No, I don't think so. You've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same. Even though they've obviously got faces. It's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys, even eventually, but you or I couldn't, unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart. That's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia. Prosopagnosia, huh? Didn't even know that kind of thing existed. Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head. Zukunftssnap. Wir gehen in einer Runde durch Tür 8 und dann mit Ace durch Tür... welche Tür war das nochmal? Tür 6? War das Tür 6? Irgendwie sowas. Ich meine, schon, ja, es müsste Tür 6 sein. Weil da kam ich zum ersten Mal auf die Idee, dass Ace vielleicht diese Gesichtsblindheit halten könnte. Hier, prosopagnosia. Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
What about the other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
Not funny. Schon ein bisschen funny. Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously. It was the first thing that came to mind and I just talked about it to kill time. But it looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
I don't have to kill time any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down on the enter key. The program took only seconds to analyze the system. Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared and all that was left was the word accepted. Piece of cake. Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared, to be replaced with 9 squares, arranged in a 3x3 square. What the hell is that?
No idea. It looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly Lotus stood up. Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
I can't do any more. It won't let me do any more programming. See the keyboard? Nothing. So there's nothing more I can do.
Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
What?
Let me take a break, alright? I did my part. He wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself. From here on out, he told himself he would rely on no one else. Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen.